My daughter Ella is 15. When she started high school last year, we were told the band would be going on this field trip to Orlando. Of course, the trip was expensive. Since Ella is growing up, my husband and I decided that if she wanted to go, she would have to pay half of the cost. Ella agreed, and she started spending weekends or teacher workdays on holidays, babysitting her siblings, 5-year-old male, 9-year-old female, for $22 an hour. Either my husband or I would stay home and make sure everything was all right. And if there were times that both of us had to be out of the house, we'd make sure to ask our neighbors to keep an eye out and pay Ella $25 an hour. We were never gone for more than 2 hours. With babysitting, some family members graciously providing her with money to help her out, cleaning, and some money she had already saved, Ella was able to make a good amount of money, which we were so proud of her for, and made sure to voice this to her. Ella was able to make enough money quickly, so we were planning to sign her up for the trip. But earlier this week, I was informed that Ella had been mistreating a girl in her grade for having a mental illness, writing awful notes and putting them in the girl's bag, spreading disgusting and derogatory rumors, posting things about her online. It's a whole mess, and when I was called in, I could barely even listen the moment after I was told my daughter was bullying someone. I thought I had raised her right, told her to treat everyone with respect and kindness. I've never seen any sort of signs or behavior that would ever indicate that Ella even thought badly about others. And now after 15 years, I'm told she fat-shamed a little 14-year-old girl. Her excuse being that someone with an illness shouldn't be allowed to get a higher test score than her. Ella was given a suspension, but it's very short. The school's motto is that they don't tolerate bullying at all, yet it feels as if she was only given a slap on the wrist and told not to do it again. It also feels wrong that I'm thinking this way, but I do think that there should be more done. The girl Ella had been bullying is also in the band, and I'm pretty sure she will be going to Orlando. Would it be wrong if I didn't allow Ella to go on the trip? She paid for half of the trip, but I don't think she deserves to go. I can't think of any other way to punish her. She loves to read and isn't on her phone often. She has a good amount of friends, but doesn't hang out with them often. What am I supposed to do? Take away her books and make her hang out with her friends more? Yeah, I think the trip is a good lesson, but my husband and a good friend of mine don't agree with the decision, the reasoning being that Ella worked for that money. I understand what they mean, which is why, of course, I'll let Ella keep what she earned, just not let her go on that trip. I don't want that girl to have any possibility of being bullied again. Would I be the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I've done research on bullying. Bullies are usually bullied. You and your family need to go to counseling with Ella and find out where this is coming from. Why does Ella feel threatened about her grades? You are thinking punitive, but punishing someone who is bullying doesn't stop it. Research shows the best treatment for bullying is making sure the person knows they are valued by the significant adults in their life. This may well be a once-in-a-lifetime trip. I agree that Ella doesn't need to be rewarded for bullying this girl, but she's worked for it. And if this is a performance trip, you keeping her home is potentially damaging the entire band. Talk to the band director and get their opinion. You really need to find out when and why this started. Punishment isn't going to stop it. She's already withdrawn, reading instead of spending time with friends. Please, for the sake of your daughter's mental health, intervene. Comment 2. Is there any way you can chaperone the trip? If the teacher has enough chaperones, try explaining to the teacher why you'd like to be included, because frankly, I'd say let her go on the trip, but you shadow her every move as if she were still 2-year-old, even to having her share your hotel room instead of another student. Because she's shown she can't be trusted on her own to behave in a civilized manner. That way, the consequences of losing trust become very clear to her over the course of the entire trip as she realizes her entire class sees her being treated like an infant. Basically, she earned the right to go on the trip by earning the money. She also earned getting direct supervision on that trip by proving that she can't be trusted otherwise. And overall, I'd address her sense of entitlement. She's not entitled to a better grade than someone else just because she's healthier. Edit, forgot to vote. Not the idiot now for the update. Thanks for sticking around for this update. A lot has happened since the last post. So after the whole bullying fiasco, things took a turn. I decided Ella wouldn't go on the trip. She was furious, said it wasn't fair, but I stood my ground. I thought that was the end of it, but boy was I wrong. Turns out Ella's been sneaking around behind our backs. She went to her grandparents, my in-laws, and spun a tale about how she was being unfairly punished for a misunderstanding. Next thing I know, they're calling me up, saying I'm stifling her growth and that they'll pay for the whole trip. Can you believe that? They didn't even ask for my side of the story. But here's where it gets really twisted. The girl Ella bullied, Her parents are getting a divorce, and it's ugly. Her dad, who's on the school board, is using his influence to get back at his wife by targeting her daughter's bully, my Ella. He's pushing for a full-on expulsion. It's a mess, and suddenly I'm in the middle of their marital war zone. Ella's suspension turned into a full investigation. The school's digging up everything, and the other kids are talking. Some of Ella's friends are turning on her, saying she's been mean to them too. I'm starting to see a side of my daughter I never knew existed. Amidst all this, the neighbor's kid, who Ella babysits, starts acting out. He's been a sweetheart, but now he's throwing tantrums and his grades are slipping. His parents are blaming Ella, saying she's a bad influence. They've stopped asking her to babysit, and there goes her main source of income. Now, remember the trip money? Ella's been saving it in her account, which I don't have access to. She's 15 after all, and I wanted her to learn financial responsibility. Well, she's emptied it, not for the trip, but to buy gifts for her friends, the same ones who are now testifying against her at school. She's trying to buy back their loyalty. My husband's caught in the middle. He thinks we should let her go on the trip, that we're being too harsh. But I can't shake the feeling that we're missing something bigger here. It's like she's manipulating everyone around her, and we're just pawns in her game. The school's decision came down like a hammer. They're allowing Ella to stay, but she's on thin ice. Any more slip-ups and she's out. They're also making her attend counseling sessions, which she hates. She says it's all pointless and that everyone's overreacting. The trip is next week. Ella's still not going, despite her grandparents' offer. I'm holding firm on that. But the girl she bullied? She's not going either. Her parents decided it's best she stays home, away from all the drama. I can't help but feel responsible for that too. Ella's been quieter lately, reading more, but there's a coldness to her. She's polite, does her chores, but we're not connecting. It's like she's shut down, and I'm worried I've pushed her too far. The other day, I overheard her talking to someone on the phone, saying she's got it all figured out. I don't know what she meant, but it sent chills down my spine. I'm starting to question everything. Did I handle this right? Is she learning anything from this, or is she just getting better at hiding her true self? Thanks for reading. My girlfriend's mom lied and stole money to gamble, so I exposed her dirty secrets to the entire family and watched as her house of cards crumbled. So I, 23-year-old male, am dating Kelly, 25-year-old female. Kelly has two very nice mothers, Gina, 64-year-old female, and Stacy, 71-year-old female, that I get along with quite well. The problem relevant to this post is that Stacy has a history of lying, very often, about things both serious and not serious, which Kelly has complained to me about a few times. While the lying does bother me, mainly because it hurts Kelly's feelings and stresses her out, Kelly says she's trying to let it go and has just come to accept it as part of her mother's personality. Well, I went to run errands with Stacy last week, and when she forgot her wallet, I thought it was a genuine mistake. She's in her 70s. She's forgetting things. It's no big deal. I'll buy her the couple things she needs, and she'll get it back to me when she can. It wasn't until later that day when I was alone with Kelly and recounting my day that she stopped me and asked if Stacy had asked me to pay for something. I said yes, and Kelly explained that this is something she does to everybody if they agree to go with her somewhere and she has or wants to buy something. She claims she forgot her wallet, asks you to pay, promises to pay you back, but almost never follows through. This was upsetting to hear, as I also don't like to be lied to and had not experienced Stacy lying to me yet. It's also not even about money for Stacy, as she has quite a bit to her name, no debt, and Gina pays most of the bills. Anyway, yesterday Stacy asked me to come with her again for errands because she needed to pick up some things and they're too heavy for her to handle. I agreed, and before we walked out the door, I said, "Oh, wait, I forgot something," and went and grabbed my jacket. I asked her if she was sure that she also had everything she needed, specifically listing wallet, keys, and phone. She said yes. I asked if she checked before we stepped outside. She said yes again. So on we went, and after the initial errands, we stopped at the drugstore, and she ended up asking me to grab her something while I was inside, claiming she forgot her wallet again. The conversation went like this. Me, I thought you said you had everything you needed before we left. Her, I did. I guess I was wrong. Me, you said you checked. Her, I did. Me, so did you lie to me about having your wallet, or did you lie to me about checking for it? Her, I don't know what you're talking about. Me, do you really not have it with you, or are you lying about that too? Her, why are you having an attitude with me? Me, why did you lie to me? Her, it's not a big deal. If you don't want to help me, then I'm going home. Me, I don't have an attitude. I'm just not going to deal with you lying to me. Lying has consequences, She was pissed, to say the least, and gave me the cold shoulder after this. Kelly says she hasn't come out of her room since we got back from errands yesterday. Did I go overboard here? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. When you were standing at the door ready to leave and she confirmed that she had her wallet, you should have hit her then with "Great, before I take you out on errands today, you can pay me back the money you borrowed last time." That would have covered the previous trip and made sure she actually had her wallet for the current trip. Comment 2. Not the idiot. At best, what Stacy is doing is lying. At worst, she is stealing from you as she promises to pay you back and then doesn't. Lying has consequences, and it is time Stacy experiences those consequences. Now, for the update, thanks for sticking around. So after the whole wallet incident with Stacy, things got even more twisted. I thought I'd seen the worst of it, but boy was I wrong. The next day, Gina calls me, sounding all frantic. Turns out, Stacy had taken a bunch of money from their joint account, money meant for their retirement. Gina was in tears, saying she didn't know what to do. Stacy had spun some story about an investment, but Gina was sure it was another lie. I felt a knot in my stomach, thinking about how this would crush Kelly. Kelly was a mess when she found out. She confronted Stacy, and it was like watching a dam burst. Stacy broke down, admitting she'd been gambling. It was a shock to everyone. She'd been sneaking off to some casino, blowing through their savings. Gina was devastated, and Kelly, she was just numb. I didn't know what to say or do. It was like the floor had dropped out from under us, but that wasn't the end of it. The next day, Kelly gets a call from the hospital. Stacy had a stroke. It felt like some cruel joke, like life was just piling it on. We rushed over, and there she was, looking so small and fragile in that hospital bed. The doctor said she was lucky to be alive. It was a wake-up call for everyone. Stacy kept apologizing, saying she never meant for any of this to happen. I saw a side of her I hadn't seen before. Vulnerable, scared. In the midst of all this chaos, Kelly did something unexpected. She took charge, like she was trying to hold all the broken pieces together. She started looking into rehab programs for Stacy, talking to financial advisors to help Gina manage what was left of their money. I saw strength in Kelly I never knew she had. It made me look at her in a whole new light, and then just when we thought we'd caught a break, another bomb dropped. Gina found out that Stacy had taken out a second mortgage on their house without telling her. It was like a betrayal of the highest order. Gina was ready to leave her, said she couldn't trust Stacy anymore. But Kelly, she begged Gina to give Stacy another chance for the sake of their family. It was a mess, an absolute mess. I was angry at Stacy for all the lies, the deceit. But then I saw her there in that hospital bed, looking so helpless. I couldn't hold on to the anger. I forgave her, even though it made me feel weak, like I was giving in. But what else could I do? Kelly needed me to be strong for her, and if that meant letting go of the resentment, then so be it. Things are still shaky. Stacy's in recovery, both from the stroke and the gambling. Gina's trying to find it in her heart to forgive her. And Kelly, she's just trying to keep her family from falling apart. It's a long road ahead, but we're walking it together. Thanks for reading. My boyfriend breaks into my house while I'm sick to accuse me of cheating. But when I discover he's the cheater, I make sure he loses more than just a girlfriend. TW stalkerish behavior. The past couple weeks, I've been extremely sick and haven't felt like leaving the house or doing anything. This sucks for me because nobody likes to be sick, but I am a busybody, and being bedridden is awful. I also haven't seen my 19-year-old female boyfriend, 20-year-old male in a while, and he keeps asking me when I will see him. I tell him I want to wait until I'm at least not running fevers because I wouldn't want to pass anything to him, especially because he has little siblings and a baby sister, and I would feel awful if I got them sick. He's very persistent though, and keeps saying how much he misses me and wants to see me. He texts me multiple times a day asking to come over, and I keep telling him not yet, especially because my fevers are up in the 104 range. Yesterday, both my parents were at work, so it was just me at home. I've been in and out of sleep because I've been sick, so I slept most of the day yesterday. Mind you, my boyfriend works Monday to Friday, so I did not expect this. Around 2 p.m., I wake up to someone rubbing my back. Before opening my eyes, I think it's my father home on his lunch break. Nope, it's my boyfriend. I'm very shocked at first and ask him what he is doing here. He says he couldn't stand being apart and wanted to surprise me. I then asked how he even got in because my parents always lock the door before leaving, and he says he guessed the garage combination because it's the same digits as my phone password, which is what my family uses as a common password. I'm a bit taken aback and I tell him it wasn't cool to show up uninvited. He told me it seemed like I was ignoring him and he wanted to come see what's up. We went back and forth about it for a while, with me keeping my point that it's rude to show up uninvited, and he just tells me I should be grateful to see him and I need to stop whining. After a while, he left mostly because I made a point to say my parents don't know you're here and wouldn't be happy with me for having you over here without their permission. Since yesterday, he has not talked to me. Am I the idiot? Thank you for all the feedback. I'm trying to read everything, but there's a new comment every time I refresh. I will give an update once I talk to him. I just don't know how I want to approach this yet. A lot of you are worried about my fevers. Sorry for the exaggeration. I have been sick for a couple of weeks, but my fever just started this week. I have not had high fevers for weeks, haha no. It started with just congestion and a sore throat, and recently turned into a cough and fever, and yes, I have been to the doctors. Thank you. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot, and his behavior seems creepy as hell. Personally, I would want to get away from him after that, because let's break it down. He refused to believe you were sick. To satisfy himself, he then breaks into your house. He then touches you while you're asleep. When you're rightfully disturbed by his behavior, he tells you that you are wrong and that you should be glad to see him, and that you need to not complain about him, not believing you were sick and that he broke into your house and touched you in your sleep. You don't have a boyfriend. You have a stalker. Comment 2. Step 1. Get yourself to the doctor because a fever of 104 for any length of time is a sign of something more than a bug. The only time as an adult that I've had a fever that high was a symptomless UTI, and those can get really serious if not treated. Step 2. This is not your boyfriend. This is your ex-boyfriend. Respond accordingly. There's a good chance he didn't believe you were sick, and that's why he crossed several boundaries to see you. This is beyond red flag behavior. Your instincts are correct. Now for the update, thanks for sticking around. Here's what went down since last time. So after the whole surprise visit fiasco, my boyfriend finally texted me. He was all apologies, saying he was out of line and that he missed me too much. I wanted to believe him, but something felt off. I didn't reply right away, trying to figure out what to do. Then late at night, I heard noises outside my window. I peeked through the blinds and guess who? My boyfriend throwing pebbles at my window like some scene out of a bad romance movie. I was mad. I texted him to stop and go home, but he wouldn't budge. He said he'd stay there all night if he had to. I didn't want to wake my parents, so I went outside to talk some sense into him. We argued, and he kept saying how he just wanted to take care of me. I told him this wasn't caring. It was borderline stalker behavior. He got upset, saying I was overreacting and that I didn't appreciate him. The next day, I was still feeling lousy, and my parents noticed I was off. I ended up spilling everything about the surprise visit and the late-night pebble throwing. They were furious, not just at him, but at me too, for not telling them sooner. They said I was letting him walk all over me and that I needed to set boundaries. I felt ashamed, like I was the one messing up. I decided to confront my boyfriend about everything. We met at the park and I laid it all out. I told him his actions were not okay and I needed space. He didn't take it well. He accused me of seeing someone else and not being honest with him. I couldn't believe it. After everything, he was turning this on me? We left things unresolved, and I felt terrible. But then my best friend told me she saw my boyfriend at the mall, cozying up with some girl from our school. I was shocked and hurt. I confronted him over text, and he didn't deny it. He said it was nothing, but I knew better. I ended things right there. It's been a rough few days. I'm still sick and now dealing with a breakup. But my friends have been amazing, bringing me soup and movies to distract me. My parents are being supportive too, even though they're still a bit disappointed in me. It's tough, but I'm starting to feel like maybe this was for the best. Thanks for reading. I'll keep you posted if anything else happens. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.